We are not going to get a player that has a choice of us and Man City or us and Liverpool. Just, not going to happen.
There is nothing wrong to my mind when we can afford it to be bringing in players to bolster the squad. And I think it's borderline negligence.
If we get relegated, then all the plans go out the window.
4 games unbeaten, 8 goals scored, 2 clean sheets. Don't need anybody in the transfer window. We're absolutely fine at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. This is the Crowing Cockerel Podcast. I'm Graham. I'm here with Thom and Mark. Good evening, chaps. How's your week been?
Oh, it's been a great week. Yeah, fantastic week. I'm sure we'll get into it. Getting over and watching my very first European away day in Frankfurt. That was flipping amazing for multiple reasons. And then another one half of decent football from Tottenham against Man City. And somehow we've made it 4 games unbeaten, including not slipping up against City. So, yeah, I'm feeling good, if slightly confused.
Well, we are the 4th best team in Europe. So, it's no wonder we're feeling so positive about things, isn't it? I mean, it's definitely feels like, as I said last week, if we wanted to sack Frank, we've missed the boat. Train has pulled out of the station, and to be honest, for good reason. I mean, we are definitely I'm hesitant to say it, but we definitely feel like we're slightly on an upward trend. It's just gentle.
Yeah.
It's gentle, but it's definitely, we're in a better place now than we were a month ago, right?
Yeah, well, I like to be the positive one, Mark, but I'm seeing what's happening, and I'm just flabbergasted, to be honest. I'm completely lost in the sense that yes, we played a little bit better in the games more recently, and that includes Burnley. We as you rightly said last week, that the game as a whole, in terms of how we played, wasn't atrocious. It was just that we gave away 2 really sloppy goals.
Yeah.
But
and they keep out a very good game.
Yeah, we were unlucky not to win.
And you now look at it and you think, well, he's in a position now where you just can't sack him because he's got 12 fit senior players to stick out against Man City. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be a January transfer window at Spurs. We have one in the summer, and then it opens again in June. We don't get involved in the shenanigans mid-season because it's character building having this many injuries. It's good for the kids to be on the bench, when we're in a relegation dogfight. It certainly doesn't look from the outside to be a case of we really could do with some reinforcements, but let's keep our powder dry for the summer when we can really sell the club. Well, we might finish 15th last season, but you're not going to have to play as many games, and we all know how players don't like playing as many games because they moan about it. So I just don't know where we're at the moment. You try and persuade me that everything is absolutely fine and it's all rosy.
No, I refuse to because your heavily saturated sarcasm there, Graham, it totally underlines sort of the way I'm still feeling about it. So here it is for me. I felt quite positive about what happened tactically with Frankfurt. We were playing 3 at the back and Paolini was playing out of position. We still had quite a lot of injuries to deal with, but I liked the shape. I liked the passage of play. I liked the movement from the players. There seemed to be a genuine sort of, oh, hang on, as Frank, maybe sort of with the injuries that have come in, as he sort of found a way to fit these players together in a system which actually they can sort of plug into. Xavi looked great. We've got Dom Solanke scoring again. Even Kolomuani looked like he knew how to play the game and hold the line and stick the ball in the back of the net. So for all intents and purposes, I came out of that Frankfurt game going, okay, this is the blueprint now. This is where you can, start gaining the trust back. We then have a first half from the dirgiest of dirges against City, which was so dull, so lacking in energy, effort, no precision in the passing, no desire, the shape just wasn't there. And that was the same sort of setup that he put out against Frankfurt. And I don't know how you get it so wrong in the next game when you're at home. I'm still utterly confused.
So I'm going to suggest the common denominator in all of this. So Pat Matasar came in and partnered Gray in the midfield against Frankfurt. And it's fair to say that that was probably the most controlled game that we've had all season. Lots of energy. They didn't get really into the game at all. We didn't let them to. We were then atrocious in getting around Man City. Absolutely appalling first half. Didn't get near them at all. And frankly, if they played anywhere near well, we would have been completely out of sight. I mean, I think we thought we were out of sight anyway at half time. Then Sarr comes on at half time, and we were all over City because now we've got somebody with so much energy. And I think the partnership with then Gallagher was decent. They're not pinging 30-yard passes, but they were able to get to the second balls. They were able to close people down. If you watch the Solanke goal, it's Gallagher that gets the second ball, bundles through and puts the cross across. So there's been an awful lot of chops and changes, but we started the season well when Sarr was in our midfield. And we seem to have played better when Sarr's been in our midfield. Now, I'm not suggesting he's a well-beater player, but I am suggesting that when you need to get a balance, you have to have players that do different things. And he is our get up and down the pitch, get everywhere, run. And it just creates that bit of energy, doesn't it?
Yeah, especially if we're not pressing well enough from the front anyway, which we don't in general. I think if you look at players like Bentancur and Paulinho, they are more likely to sit and wait for the play to come to them before they then try and sort of intercept, tackle, and then move the ball on. Whereas you're right, Sarr is going to chase people down. Conor Gallagher for the second goal against City, he was absolutely brilliant winning the ball back and then fantastic ball in. So that energy in midfield, if we're going to be so static in every other place in the pitch, and we've said this before about it feels sometimes like Thomas Franks tells everybody to stay in their little box in the pitch. Actually, what you really want is for people to sort of break out of that and go and take it to the opposition. It's a nice theory. I think he deserves a few more minutes. I think he's probably going to get them because with the amount of injuries we've got,
unless he's injured, of course, it's
yeah. Well, give it another sort of 15 minutes in the next game, and we'll see.
It could be the irony of all ironies, isn't it? Is that the thing that keeps Thomas Frank in his job is just the fact that he has had no choice in what team he plays. It's literally just like it's been
taken out of his
put on a
hands,
plate.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been put on a plate for him. He's had no choice, and so therefore, in a way, it makes things simple for him. You know, these are the players. These are the guys that are playing. Doesn't have to think about anything else. He can just focus all his efforts on these players and how we're going to play. And yeah, who knows whether he's just stumbled on the magic key at last.
But if that's true, that doesn't scream elite coach.
No, but sometimes you need a bit of luck.
But while I think of it, because I don't want to forget to do this, because we've done enough pods now that we've got a bit of a back catalogue, so we can start calling out terrible opinions. So, Mark.
Yes.
Xavi Simons, I do believe that you may have suggested that he was atrocious or something along those lines, and certainly not up to the level of the Premier League and a complete waste of money and can't really play football. Would it be fair to say that he is starting to settle into the Premier League now?
So 2 points. The first point is that I think that was not a particularly controversial opinion when I made it. But yes, I think it is fair to say that he is starting to settle in. He is starting to show what we all hoped we were buying back in the summer. And yeah, it's great to see. It's great to see him really kind of start to understand what he needs to do. And what I like about him is that he, in the same way as you said about Sarr when we don't have the ball, Xavi injects pace into our play. He's always the one looking to flit in and out, play those passes, look for something a bit different. And yeah, I think the excitement is back now. When he gets the ball, you feel the crowd just lift slightly when he gets the ball, because you think, yeah, he has got the capability to make a difference.
But do you think there's a direct correlation between sort of how poor we've been this season overall and and his progression, because it took him a while to settle in. We saw a few flashes here and there, but it wasn't that consistent. Now we seem to get like a really good half out of him. And the team seems to follow suit. Maybe in a 3 or 4 more games, maybe he'll be great for an entire match, and we'll see a full 90-minute performance from Spurs, because definitely improved, and definitely our sort of our best creative outlet, without a shadow of a doubt. And not just because he wants to sort of drive and move the ball forward, but he will play those passes that other players aren't thinking of. And I also love the fact that he doesn't mind putting a tackle in.
Yeah, I mean, his effort is. I just think it was fantastic on the second half. The stadium was very quiet, but I'm not having that people turn up to a full match wanting to be quiet. But if you play like we did first half, there's nothing to shout about. And to be
Well,
honest, I was. It was
especially
more.
after the season we've had.
Well, yeah, it was more surprising the players weren't getting heckled, to be honest, after the first half. But once you start putting some pressure on the opposition, once you start getting forward, once you start trying to score goals, it's amazing, isn't it? That everybody gets a little bit more excited and everything starts feeling a lot better. And I do think that Xavi's effort, and he's getting up to speed with the Premier League. He seems to be able to hold off players better now.
Yeah.
And also, he's got Solanke who can make runs into good spaces.
Well, this is what I was going to say. It's a bit of a chicken and egg question, I guess. Is that, are Spurs looking a bit better because Xavi is playing better, or is Xavi looking better because the rest of the team are playing better? It's like, which one is leading that, or is it a combination of everything? Because we said before, didn't we? For too much of this season, Xavi has been receiving the ball in his own half, and we don't want him there. We want him in the opposition half, causing problems to opposing defenders. And it seems like now we are more capable of getting that ball and keeping the ball forward. And I think Solanke is a big reason for that as well. He's just proved that he is a class or two above all the other strikers at the club, that's for sure. He's been sorely missed.
Just hope he's not injured now.
No,
Rolled his ankle, was it?
I think it was fine. I don't think there was too much. Yeah, he rolled his ankle, but I don't think it was anything.
Well, hold
too
the press,
significant.
because we're recording this literally minutes after the close of the transfer window, and Spurs did go out, and it looks like we're going to bring in another striking option in some 18-year-old from Hearts we've never heard of. So it's okay if he gets injured. We've already got immediate backup.
It's a concern. It's a concern, isn't it? Because, I mean, obviously we've got so many injuries at the moment. And I understand, I get the fact that you don't really want to buy players just to plug a gap that's only going to last a couple of months in the long term. Because if it's worth buying somebody, you want to buy somebody that's going to make a difference. But that is obviously going to be a huge investment when in 2 or 3 months' time, hopefully, this injury crisis will be over, and then you're left with a player who might never play. Yeah, it just feels very underwhelming, doesn't it?
Look, I seem to remember us having quite a heated, perhaps beer-fueled conversation while we were over in Frankfurt around this particular window. And the one thing that I couldn't get my head around was, as the 9th richest club in the world, with the injuries that we've got, with the concerns that we've had around being in a genuine relegation battle, why the club would not bring in some more bodies, at least on loan. We are desperately short with strikers up front. I can't believe that the club thinks this James Wilson at 18 is the solution for those gaps. You're right, Mark. I'm guessing Solanke will be okay, but we haven't got Richarlison for a while. Solanke's fitness record hasn't been great. So that's it for your proven front strikers when you are potentially looking at sort of a really tough set of fixtures through February, still a long period of time when you're going to have a full squad back. There is nothing wrong, to my mind, when we can afford it, to be bringing in players to bolster the squad. And I think it's borderline negligence on sort of behalf of. I don't know if Thomas Frank was asking. I would assume he would. I'm assuming he's saying, you cannot leave me in this sort of situation. But I think he is a club man. He's not going to sort of rock the boat.
The club clearly don't feel that it is a dangerous situation. Because if the club seriously thought that there was a chance we were going to get relegated, then surely they would have acted, because that's just terminal, isn't it? If we get relegated, then all the plans go out the window. So they clearly don't believe that it's a really serious problem in terms of where we are and the likelihood that we are to get relegated.
And if you actually look at it, it's 9. You need 9 points over 14 games.
But over the weekend, there was a point where West Ham were winning, Nottingham Forest were winning, and we were losing. Now, I know we didn't all play at the same time, but my point is, if those results had gone a slightly different way, then that wouldn't be 9 points. It would be 6 points. And yes, it was a cakewalk against Frankfurt. But maybe last week we didn't know that. We expected to win against Frankfurt. We didn't know that. And then we got more injuries. And it only takes a mistake from someone, and all of a sudden they get a penalty. Anything can happen in the game. So I don't think that you can say, oh, well, it's less likely to happen. I'm more convinced now, when Mark said we're sleepwalking towards relegation, I'm more convinced now that that's a possibility because of the lack of investment. I can see us making a real fist of it, like we did against City, and maybe with some improved performances and some of those individuals who, want to shout out to Archie Gray, because I think he's been playing great the last couple of games. But it only takes another couple of injuries.
I do totally agree with everything you're saying, but I also agree with what Mark's saying, is that the club will be looking at it.
Well, you enjoy yourself on the fence there, Graham.
Yeah. Well, I will, because to us, you're absolutely right. You don't win any of the next 4 games and it's getting close. But the reality is, you are not likely to get relegated if you get to 40 points, or if you get an average of 1 point per game over the season, which Spurs are. And the sad fact of the matter, I guess, is that they've looked at it. They probably have gone and had conversations, and players have gone, well, I'd quite like to play for a club not battling relegation, if that's all right. So, you're not going to get good players in. And I just think we've got a complete crisis of what we are, which is hampering us massively. Because I think the people in the boardroom believe what they say publicly, which is that we've got loads of ambition. We want to compete in the Champions League, and we want to compete at the upper ends of the Premier League. And they think they're going to go out and somehow recruit players of that caliber. But the reality is that we're basically competing with the Sunderlands of this world, the Nottingham Forest of this world, Newcastle at the moment, who can't buy anybody. And, you're not going to get the level of player that I think the club are focusing on. And they keep getting knocked back.
But we can. We have the ability to buy those players.
No, but
not if the players don't want to go.
Exactly. This was the whole thing about Semenyo, wasn't it? They made it. Thomas Frank made a big thing about Semenyo, saying, "Oh, the owners they tried everything," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, take a look at the league table. That's why Semenyo doesn't want to go. If you've got the choice of playing for Man City or us, you're going to Man City every single time."
The situation we're in, we're not yet absolutely spot on. We are not going to get a player that has a choice of us and Man City, or us and Liverpool, us and Chelsea. It's just, not going to happen.
Yeah. Okay, so over the past few weeks, obviously, we've been getting out the Frankometer. And last week was the week we decided that after the third week of us being on the same page with Frank out, we would send our strongly worded email to the club.
I don't think they've read it.
No, didn't get a read receipt. But it went in. The email went in. And then all of a sudden, 4 games unbeaten, with the top 4 in Champions League. I'm interested, boys. I'm interested. I don't think that it's time to bin the Frankometer. I think it's the perfect time to get it out again. So right now, where are you at?
There is absolutely no point sacking him. I would not support sacking him right now. What's the point? Like I say, I believe we are trending upwards, however shallow that upwards is. But it's better than it was 4 weeks ago. So why on earth would you sack him now?
Before I give my opinion, I think it's worth saying that now we've sent our strongly worded email into the club. If we go 3 weeks of all 3 of us saying Frank in, because he's turned everything around, or we believe he's got enough of an excuse, then we've committed to sending a nicely worded email to Thomas Frank to thank him for his continued good work.
Welcome to the Flip Flop Podcast.
Yeah. And to be honest, I'm not going to I don't think this will happen because I can't see me flopping or flipping, whichever one it is that changes your mind. So I agree with Mark on the point that what's the point of sacking him? Because he's got so many injuries. Who's going to come in and suddenly get everybody off their deathbed? Nobody.
Let me ask you this question. In the last 4 games, forget the rest of the season, based on the last 4 games, would you sack him?
My reason for sacking him was borne out by something that you said, Mark, many, many weeks ago, is do I want Frank Ball to be the ultimate goal? I do not think he is the coach for us. And although things look like they're improving, his default is still actually what we'll do is we'll be cautious. And I don't want a coach that their default is cautious and nick something from a set piece. It's just not the way I want to watch football. So I am sticking to my guns until he can prove that he will start games and continue through games when we're 1-0 up, 2-0 up to attack. Obviously in a planned way. It doesn't have to be full Ange ball completely open, but to get the ball out of our half and play football in the opposition half, I'm gonna be sticking with Frank out.
To answer your question directly, Mark, last 4 games, you wouldn't sack a coach. If those last 4 games were the first 4 games of the season, you wouldn't sack him. This is on the body of work. This is on the constant backward step that we seem to make where we can't string one half of football together. I think the injuries that we've picked up, especially since the turn of the year, have been really problematic, and I give Frank massive credit for getting the team out there, getting some sort of result under a ton of pressure from the fans, and also with like the difficulty of not having anywhere near a strong enough squad to compete both in the league and the Champions League. He's done well in the last few games, but I'm still Frank out. I think if we've suddenly found that there was another coach who was a better fit, and I think we've all said it at one point or another, it feels with us he's a square peg in a round hole. So yeah, I'm pleased that we're doing better, but I'm just not convinced by Frank yet.
All right. Well, you two are being very grumpy this evening.
Yes.
So I am going to bring up 2 points that we've not really discussed yet that I think are worth talking about and are certainly positive things. First of all, Thom Solanke, and in particular, that incredible goal that he scored. The second one, what would you call it? The scorpion kick, or it was very Giroud or Ibrahimovic-esque.
We can't mention the fact and the irony of him scoring a Giroud goal to win Arsenal the title. We're not going down that route. That's for funnier people than us to bring up.
I mean, the guy should be going on strictly because that was definitely a move from the Argentine tango.
Oh my goodness!
It was. I mean, it was so instinctive. His comeback, was it 4 goals in 4 games?
Yeah.
Do you know how some players, you can, like Cantona, like Ibrahimovic, you can see them thinking about doing these incredible things even before the ball gets there. This was instinctive. He was like, I'm sticking my foot out on this and I'm going to try and get something on it. Because even he was surprised when it went in.
Well, of course. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm not sure even Olivier Giroud exactly had it planned that way. But yeah, I mean, just a fantastic bit of improvisation.
Yeah.
And it was just the way that it was just out of reach of Donnarumma. He just got a little fingertip, didn't he?
Absolutely massive, isn't he?
Huge.
Yeah, he's a huge keeper. He got to it. He can get to anything, that guy, can't he? So the one good thing of this season is how good our goal of the season competition is going to be.
It's going to be amazing. I mean, we don't score many.
I think we mentioned this the first 3 months of the season,
didn't we? Yeah.
Yeah, but last season we gave it to a corner kick that went straight in from Son. But there wasn't really much else, was there? This season, it's going to go on for about 3 hours. Just like,
I mean, I can think of 10 goals this season that have been absolute bangers. I mean, even when you think of like that, the Romero header, just something like that, that was such a good header, and yet that's nowhere near our best goal. And you think of Van de Ven and Kudus, and just amazing.
But yeah, no, it was another great goal, and I thought the first goal, I appreciate that,
The first
but the
goal was a
actual,
foul.
It was,
Yeah,
it was a foul.
but his a run, his control,
Turn
and
was
his
great.
instinct to get it on goal.
Well, it went against, is it Kuznov, the defender? It was just
Yeah.
like, I think that's the big difference. When you look at that goal, Richarlison would never have scored that goal because he doesn't have that real
He would have fallen
striker's
over.
aggression.
He would have tried to get a penalty.
Yeah, exactly. It's that's the thing with Solanke, is that it was a real kind of, right, you are not getting this ball, and he's got that strength and that kind of awareness of like, right, get out my way. I'm going to do everything I can to stick this ball in the back of the net. And he just, he decided to do it via Mark Gay's calf, but hey ho.
Yeah, there is nobody else on the pitch that I would trust more to volley Mark Gay into the back of the net than Thom Solanke. And actually talking about, how he takes
hold on. I know, Mark, you obviously sort of agree with a lot of people that it was a foul, but he did sort of he got his toe, he went through Mark Gay and he got his toe to the ball. So it wasn't like he booted him up the arse. Now, I can see why it could have been given as a foul. But I don't think it was quite as blatant as.
Wow, I think you are wearing very dark Spurs tinted glasses there, because
it's been made to sound like he booted him through the back of the.
He did.
Back of the
yes, he did.
Yeah,
I think he poked through his leg and got his leg first. But
Mark Gay's leg went all the way around his shoulder and came back again.
I think it's fair to say I was surprised it was given.
Look, if we're talking about Solanke and his qualities, the thing puts that in perspective as well is it's just how quickly he's just on it. He's come back from an injury and he's just on it. That goal he took in Frankfurt was a proper
really,
striker's goal.
Finish.
Ran through, looked where the goalie was, finished without any there was no sort of fanfare. He didn't try and bury it. He absolutely placed it arrow straight into that left-hand corner. It was such a well-taken goal, and you just think that's what we've been missing.
Yeah, he made it look easy, didn't he? And you're absolutely
Brilliant.
right, Tom. That is, we're sort of talking about the Scorpion and everything like that, but actually that goal is the sign of his quality, because he just made it look so effortless. That's his bread and butter, and that's what it should be. I think you're right to bring that goal up, is that is the classic example of a proper striker who knows what they're doing in front of goal, and he'll tuck those away, 9 times out of 10. And it was great to see, that's for sure. And of course, that nicely links on to my other bit of positivity, because that secured 4th place in the Champions League. I don't think you can. I mean, yes, everyone is trying to downplay it by the fact that we had an easier draw, but you can only play who's in front of you. And to finish 4th in that Champions League, that is a hell of an achievement. I mean, I don't think anybody would have ever said that we had the ability to do that.
Nobody's mentioned. Do you know who had an easier draw than Spurs on paper?
Arsenal?
Yes. Nobody's mentioned that, have they? They only had Bayern Munich to play, didn't they? And admittedly, they beat them, but fair play. But their draw was easier than Spurs' draw.
Well, but it's a flawed logic as well, because people say, "Oh, it was an easier draw." The only reason they're saying that is because of where the teams finished in the league. Well, if Spurs hadn't beaten all those teams, then potentially they would have had more points and come higher up in the league. So it's a flawed logic anyway.
Yeah.
It's
and 2-2 away to Bodo Glimt doesn't look so bad when they beat
City. No,
exactly.
No, that apparently wasn't such an easy draw either, was it?
Yeah. So no, I think we do spend a lot of time, quite rightly so, this season being very negative and getting on Thomas Frank's back, but I just want to give credit where credit is due. To qualifying 4th is such a huge thing, especially with our injury situation, not having to have those playoff games, which I think I'm right in saying would have been wrapped around the Arsenal game.
Look, one thing I will say is that I absolutely loved that trip. As I said before, my first European away day, the crowds, the very scary walk through the forest.
Yes.
To the ground.
That was an experience all of its own, wasn't it?
Under the watchful eye of the local constabulary.
And, of course, you met Spurs podcast royalty, Tom, on the train station.
Oh, yeah, journalistic royalty.
Journalistic royalty.
I had a lovely chat with Alasdair Gold. We had a lovely sort of chinwag about the state of affairs and potential injuries and what we think might happen in the game. What a lovely chap, and obviously we stuck the pictures up on the social. So I'm sure if there's Spurs fans out there that have been on away trips, they would have definitely bumped into Alasdair before, and will also testify what a gent he is.
Do you think he's ever been called Chris Cowlin before?
No, I think probably. I think probably I'm the first to do that. But I was a bit nervous because I saw her and went, I do know your face. Something else we did while we were over in Frankfurt was a very special edition of Thom's teaser. So, if we can cross over live in the past to O'Reilly's pub in Frankfurt city centre, let's have a little bit of Thom's teaser on tour.
Play that jingle.
Thom's teaser
on tour.
Right, we are currently in Frankfurt for tonight's Champions League game.
Yes, we are.
So with that in mind, I thought I'd do us a Frank-based quiz. We're in Frankfurt. Manager Thomas Frank. Let's keep it simple. So this is Frank you or no Frank you. I remember we did a keen or not keen quiz. Do you remember that a few weeks ago? So this is basically a true or false question and answer situation. I will ask you both for your answers. You both get a go at it, and then I'll let you know if you're right or not. But I want to hear you say Frank you or no Frank you. I'll be ready. Question 1. Thomas Frank's win percentage is 37%. Graham.
Frank you.
Mark.
I think it's lower. I'm going no Frank you.
That's a point to Mark. It's 35%.
Yeah.
Not
again,
the Champions League.
Again, this will go out after the. He might well be up to 37 by the time this goes out.
Now, although it feels like we play them every week, I want you to tell us how many times have we actually played Eintracht Frankfurt? So 6 is the number I have here. Mark, what do you think? Frank you or no Frank you to that?
Sounds about right. I'm going to say Frank you.
Graham, what's feeling?
Yeah, Frank you.
You both get a point on that one.
Yeah.
2-1 as it stands. Obviously tonight will be the 7th. Okay, so one of our old players, a Frank Saul, who is a forward in part of our 60-61 double winning team, famously scored in the 1966 FA Cup final. Frank you or no Frank you? Graham, come to you first.
No Frank you.
I agree. Yeah, no Frank you. I don't think he was a regular member of that, and so can't see him being in the cup final.
Well, you're wrong, because he was part of the cup final, but it was the 67 cup final that he scored in. So you're both right.
Wow.
Not using any sort of talent or knowledge or skill. Like pure luck. Okay, so question number 4. Harry Redknapp's distant relative, Frank Lampard, scored 10 goals in total against Tottenham. Mark, Frank you or no Frank you?
No, I'm not having that. No Frank you.
Graham?
Yeah, no Frank you. That's a lot of goals for one player over.
Isn't it? See, it's true though.
Wow.
So he scored 10 goals against us in total.
Is he really?
Yeah, I know, annoying, isn't it? Okay, and the final question, unless we need a tie break, and it is still close, I think it's only 1 point in it. And I'm going out on a limb here for the Frank, and even more so on the tiebreaker, so bear with me. Jerry Francis, which can be shortened to Frank, managed QPR both before and after managing Spurs. Mark, Frank you or no Frank you?
I think that is correct. Frank you.
Yeah,
Graham.
Frank you. Frank you, yeah, correct.
You are both right. Well done. However, that does mean, I think, Mark, if you can give us the final scores there, I think you might have just pipped that by 1.
Yeah, well, it's getting a bit boring now, isn't it? But, yeah, Graham 3, Mark 4.
And that takes the overall Thom's teaser score to Graham 6, Mark 13. Anyway, so that's Thom's teaser on tour. Let's look forward to tonight's game.
Thom's teaser
on tour.
So there we go. Well done again, Mark. Graham, have you got anything to say?
Well, yeah, I might need some help. We might have to start bringing in people, might we, to give Mark some competition. Maybe that's something to look forward to in the future.
Yeah, home or away makes no difference. Makes no difference.
Dominant.
Dominant performance. Get in. All right, so let's look ahead. We are 4 games unbeaten, and we now move on to Old Trafford Saturday lunchtime, away to Manchester United, who, well, they're quite good now, aren't they, under Michael Carrick? It's rather annoying. But yeah, Man United Spurs, always a good game. What do we reckon? How do we think we're going to get on?
Well, I'm not sure. They've genuinely turned a corner, haven't they? And I'm kind of a little bit annoyed that when we had the opportunity, or if we'd had a bit more foresight, and maybe Frank could have, tootled off, and we could have got Carrick in as an ex-Spurs player. But he's doing all right, and it's difficult to dislike the fella, which is really annoying because I quite like disliking Manchester United managers. However, I do think that the pressure is on them to maintain that level. So I think the bubble might burst. I'm not saying we're going to win, but I'm going to go for like a high scoring draw. I'm going to go 3-3.
My goodness.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3-3. And I think it'd be absolutely mad if I didn't go Solanke, but I am worried he might be injured. I'm going to go Xavi. I'm going to go Xavi to score in a 3-3 draw at Old Trafford.
Okay. It's difficult because although I've been a little bit snarky on this episode, I am hopefully seeing a few positive signs and a few things that suggest that we can sort of get points here and there. I think a point is a reasonable expectation. I think we can go up there and we can get a point. I think it'll be 1-1. And I am confident that Solanke will play. And I think he's in really good form, and he's going to be sky high with his confidence. So I'm going to go Solanke. We'll get a goal.
All right, fair enough. Well, I'm going to make it 3 out of 3. I also think it's going to be a draw. And I'm going to pop myself in the middle. I'm going to say 2-2. I do think we've got enough to get a point. And a similar sort of logic, I'm not sure whether Solanke will be risked. So I think Colin Wani will probably be the centre forward for that game. So I'm going to go with him to be the goal scorer.
Right. What I'd love to know is, have I made up any ground in the prediction league, please? Where are we at?
Right. Well, short answer, no. So, obviously, Frankfurt away, Manchester City at home. For the Frankfurt game, Graham, you said it was going to be a draw. Both myself and Thom said it was going to be a win. You also chose Porro as your goal scorer, who was injured. So, 0 points for you there. Thom with the win and a Dom Solanke goal scorer, he gets 2 points. I said Xavi, so I only get 1 point. And then against Manchester City, well, you said we were going to win 3-1, but you did say Solanke to score the goal, so you get 1 point. Thom, so negative, said we were going to lose 2-0, so nothing for him there. I was correct with the result. I said 1-1, but couldn't get the goal scorer right. So just the 1 point for me there. So scores on the doors are now Graham has 19, I've got 23. Thom still in the lead with 34 points.
I am bossing it. I am.
Right. We're going to end the pod on a positive note, and we're going to have a bit of positive Spurs.
Now everybody, haven't you heard? Here's a guy that can polish a turd. When you think you've got nothing to give, he'll stay positive. Positive Spurs.
So my positive this week, after the media speculation around what Spurs fans are like, and I do think that it is either a very small minority or it is just media invented, that Spurs fans went to the game on Sunday and thought that they wanted Spurs to lose. I think the second half proves beyond any reasonable doubt that give us a bit to shout about, and Spurs fans will not only get behind the team, but actually be happy with a level of performance that is put in front of us like that. I think the ending, especially, and that's what I wanted to pick out, the last minute or so with the glory, glory Tottenham Hotspur going around the stadium, and it was almost spine tingly in the sense that, this is what we want. We don't want the negativity. We're not a negativity club. We're a possibly too hopeful at times club, but we don't want to be seen as the joke, and we're not the joke. And I think sometimes things are getting amplified when they don't really exist. We want to win games, and we want to win games well.
Yeah, I think it's deep rooted in every football fan, isn't it? I mean, the fact is that when your team is on the attack, you can't help but be excited by it. There is no football fan in that stadium when Thom Solanke pivots his hip in that unnatural position and the ball loops over Donnarumma that is thinking to themselves, I hope he gets a fingertip onto that. Like, it just doesn't happen. I refuse to believe it happens. And I think it was great to hear that atmosphere in the second half. That's what the new stadium is all about. That wall of noise coming down from the stands. And it was a very weird, eerie, quiet place in that first half. So brilliant that the football was able to improve and we were able to get that proper atmosphere back in that ground again, which is what it deserves.
Yeah, and you're right, Mark. It's the football that makes it happen.
Yeah.
Because I think we are in a situation now where the fans are needing to see the performance before they decide they're going to back what's happening on the pitch. And that's because of the sort of the inconsistency we've had. And we've spoken about that a lot. But it's such a small club mentality to go, well, we don't mind losing this because it robs Arsenal of X, Y, and Z.
It really is.
We want to be just backing the team and backing some quality play.
And when you're a Spurs fan or you're any club fan, it's ingrained into you, isn't it? And you can't help your emotion. You can't train yourself to suddenly switch. So in that moment, we wanted to get back level with City. We wanted to go then unbeaten, didn't we? That was what the crowd wanted. There was no, oh, we're back to 2-2. This is okay. There was very much, come on, we can actually go and win this.
No, it's definitely good to see a good bit of positive noise in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's been a long time since we've heard that. So yeah, all good.
Right, cheers, lads.
Yeah, it's been a good one. It was good to see you both in person in the week. Yeah, good to see you on this pod again. And yeah, let's hope we can carry on our unbeaten run up in Old Trafford. Come on,
Fingers
you
crossed.
Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.